Hi everyone, Charlie Black 20 back again. I am doing a story this time about myself. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's been on my mind for a little while that I'm going to share a little bit about myself and explain perhaps some of the struggles I've had. And I know that's going to seem kind of corny, seeing as I've only just started, but I think it would also explain why I am doing these videos and why my videos are the way they are, meaning how I talk about them and do them. And I'm going to share a little bit about my personal self. And that is that I have autism. I have what is known as Asperger's syndrome, which is on the higher end of the autism spectrum. If you think about autism on a social skills level, social skills ladder, like that, with each rung being a different part of Asperger's, at the very top are people who are what we call neurotypical, meaning that they function normally brain-wise within society and socially within society. The one rung below that is people who have Asperger's autism, which is like myself, who can interact with society on a social level in a way that is extremely normal, it seems, but also has their own little quirks. They can miscommunicate. We can misinterpret. We can get too focused on certain social details or not focused on certain social details, depending on each given situation. And you keep going down the ladder and you get less and less social skills. I will say, as a obvious disclaimer, having autism in any way, shape, or form does not affect intelligence. It just depends on how we can utilize that intelligence and how well we can, and how we can communicate it. Now, I was diagnosed with autism a little bit later in life. Until I was about 17 years old, my family, myself, my administrators, my teachers, my psychologists, all thought I had ADHD and recommended many medicines to me, recommended many ideas to me. Some of those ideas worked and some of them didn't, but the medicine that I took, although it, I would say, numbed my anxiety to a certain degree, it did not change my thinking process. It did not shorten my temper. Sorry, not shorten. It didn't give me more patience. It didn't do all these things. And in fact, the medicine they gave me, like Ritalin, Adderall, Strattera later on, all they did was make me into what I refer to as a zombie. My appetite would be almost non-existent. My social aptitude was near zero. And my ability to be patient, compromise, get things done, focus on things I didn't want to work on, wasn't there. And it wasn't until there were some incidents in high school here in Virginia, not my freshman year in Wisconsin where I was born, but the 3 years I spent in Virginia's high school, that I got a new diagnosis because I had some troubles in school and they wanted to get a new opinion, a new diagnosis to see if there was something else going on besides ADHD. And so I went to see a psychologist, psychiatrist, whichever one it is, and they figured out basically that I was on the spectrum of autism and that I most likely had Asperger's. And they said that these quote-unquote symptoms or personality traits I displayed were in line with Asperger's. And my parents were very good at confirming these behaviors because I didn't notice them. I just thought they were my personality. And obviously that these personality traits that were symptoms of autism being unchecked were shortness of temper, a large amount of anxiety, lack of social skills on a broad scale, and a lack of focus on a broad general picture of things. So I started seeing a psychiatrist slash therapist to learn new things and how to learn new strategies, how to talk to people, how to have a very normal conversation, and I got some new medicine. I will not reveal what that medicine is because, quite frankly, we don't. Every case is different. Each individual has their own tolerance level, their own need level, all these different things, and different kinds of medicines exist out there that can work just as well as the one for me. But for me, what the medicine does is it calms my anxiety. It doesn't affect my appetite all that much. Like maybe I have a smaller appetite, but it's not that. I've definitely improved on a great deal. Like I eat a lot better. My social skills improved dramatically. Even though I already had friends in school, my social skills, even with my closest friends, was still uh, not quite there. It wasn't like this all the time. It was more like boom, boom, like that. Sometimes it was basically hit or miss. And once I started getting on this medicine, learning these new ideas, it really helped. And it also improved my schoolwork. It didn't really show itself in my schoolwork till college, but it certainly helped in high school at the beginning. I was able to focus more. I was able to stop procrastinating as much. I was able to deal with my teachers better. All these different things, all these different strategies I learned. And then it also they also taught you to be self-reliant. I relied on others for so much before I was diagnosed with Asperger's. Like I had one job before I quit. I started looking into a new job and I worked my butt off. And I continue to this day to work my butt off. Like I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to doing some work. Not all, obviously, but like what I get focused on, I'm a perfectionist in that. At least a little bit. And then I also had been putting off getting my license, at least my permit, my learner's permit. And when I finally got it, I had to, and I was able to drive. I still preferred being driven by other people, like my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother. I preferred being driven because I just had to sit there and relax, which was not conducive to being a young person. So my mom and my dad agreed that I should get a tutor for driving a car by somebody who specializes in teaching people with autism how to drive. And it worked. I learned very quickly, and I took the test. I had planned to take it when I was 21. A month before that, I went in, took the test, got my license. And I know it seems like a small accomplishment to do it 1 month before I turned 21. Like, what's the big deal? I got my license when I was 16. What are you talking about? Well, for me, somebody who was, quite honestly, fairly lazy, not focused on a goal like that, but wanting my independence, wanting to do more, wanting to succeed in my goal that I set for myself. I was able to do that once I knew that it was my Asperger's that I was fighting against, my anxiety. And I feel a whole lot better. I have an independence. I have a self-reliance. I rent an apartment with my family, yes, but I'm still renting it. I'm working to pay rent. I'm working to put food on my table. I'm working to keep my computer going. I'm working on all these things. And I have help. I have a support system thanks to my parents. They've always been very, very supportive. And they've told me on several occasions, especially my mom, that if we'd known you had Asperger's, we would have done things completely differently and we would have been able to do things a lot better for you. And I appreciate that very much from them. They sacrificed a lot to help me. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to really give them enough praise and enough, I forget the word, I'm sorry, it's escaping me at the moment. Enough credit for giving me so much help, and like they came to therapy with me. They helped me get the medicine. They helped me learn these strategies. They helped me be social. They did these things with me, and they helped me a lot. And so it really helped me in college because socially, I just wasn't there. I was able to communicate with people. Yes, and I was able to talk a lot of history and politics with certain people in a very, very well organized and thoughtful way, and without losing my temper, because we had different views on like history, politics, social dynamics, all these different things, and I was able to do very, very well in my studies. Like at one point, I was taking a biology course, and I was procrastinating like I knew I shouldn't, but I was doing that. And I told myself, you know what, it's biology. I'll just get C's, whatever, who cares? And my test scores come back with really bad grades, D's, F's, and these are on like tests and not just homework assignments. And when I realized just how badly I was doing, I decided to switch things up. And I kicked things into high gear, and I told myself, I set myself some goals. You will not, if you're going to study, and you will study, you are going to study at least twice a day your notes. Twice a day, 2 times. Meaning that I would study it once during the day, at any time, by reading it, silently reading it, and then reading it aloud. All my notes that I took that I knew would be on the test. I would do the same thing later that night. And if I missed a time, whether by being lazy or because something came up, I would tell myself, okay, you're going to do it 3 times the next day. So to avoid doing it 3 times, you better do it now. And it worked. My grades immediately went up. I got A's, 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 and B's, B's, B's. No C's, no D's. And this is in biology, which I am not a science guy in any way. But by doing this, and I took advantage of the resources that the professor provided us, which was the notes, obviously, but I also, the PowerPoints, I would take the notes from the PowerPoints, and she said, these are the notes in the PowerPoint that you absolutely have to know. I would take them, put them in my notebooks, and I would just go through them over and over and over again. It wasn't quite memorization because I never could memorize things, but I was able to know them so well and learn them very, very quickly because I kept focusing and focusing and focusing. Beg your pardon. A little dry. But it worked. And I did the exact same thing in my chemistry class that I took the next college semester. Boom. I started from the very beginning. A's, A's, B's, B's. And I did very well in that class. And I felt very, very good about myself for doing that. I did the same thing with my philosophy class that I took. And it was a very interesting class, too. I learned, we saw different dynamics going on, morality, and, and just A's, 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 because I studied. Took notes. I did all these things. I took advantage of every resource I could, extra credit, meeting with new teachers, talking with the teachers almost every day about the assignments, all these different things. And I was only able to do that because of the strategies I'd been taught, the new medication I was now taking, and the newfound pride I took in myself accomplishing these goals of getting A's, of getting my studying done, of not procrastinating, of the pride I took in making my parents proud. Making them proud and having them say, good job, and we are proud of you, meant more to me than actually getting the A. At that point it did. Before, I was hoping for it, but I wasn't trying for it. Now I understand a great deal more about what I was missing. As for my social skills, they improved dramatically. I can hold conversations with people who are complete strangers to me, and just normal everyday conversations. Like I work in a retail environment. You have to communicate with customers all the time. And I do it on a very regular basis. Do you need help finding this? Do you need help with your car and your items? Do you need help finding something? All these different things. And they will thank me, tell me that I am very kind. I get compliments to the managers who compliment me, saying the customer said you did a great job. They are very happy with you. All these different things. I get compliments from other employees that I'm working the hardest at my job. And I'm like, I'm just doing the best I can. I stay a little modest, even though obviously the compliments, no matter what I'm doing, if there's a compliment, it's like, So having a little bit of pride in what I do, whether it's something I love, something I hate, or something that I'm okay with, having that sense of pride in getting it done and getting it done well exists in me now, that I am aware of my disadvantages in that sense. And socially, I still have, oddly enough, my closest friends are my friends from high school. The same people that we were in disabilities counseling, like everybody else. We were told we had ADHD, autism, different psychological stuff, learning disabilities, all these things. We met through that, and we stayed in contact through that. And we stay in contact to today. They are my closest friends. Even though we're all kind of separated in many ways, we still are the closest of close. We meet up, we go back to our old group dynamics, and it's great to see each other. Whenever we can, if we can do it, we get together here in Virginia, we go to Bowl America, kick each other's butts in the game, and then we go to IHOP for pancakes, eggs, ice cream, and we just talk and talk and talk. And the atmosphere is just fun, relaxed, and comfortable. We don't question each other. We don't worry what the other thinks. And I know it's rare to get that out of high school, because high school you're forced together rather than choosing to be together like college. But it worked for us. We were the ones that were considered those on the fringes. Not necessarily because of what we had going on in our heads, but because we were not known. We were not noticed, other than when we were causing drama or having drama happen to us. So the fact that we stayed friends through all of that, and to this day continue to stay the best of friends and stay in contact. Part of that has to do with technology improving so much that we can do that, but it's also our strong bond that we developed through high school, when you knew you were going through the worst time of your teenage life. Now, I know this has been a little of a long video, but I thought I would share a little bit of that, share a little bit about myself, why I do these videos, why I feel it's important is that if you understand me and I can explain it well to you, then I think you'll understand why my videos are the way they are. And hopefully this allows you to expand more, broaden your horizons. Whether you have autism, whether you don't, whether you have ADHD, whether you don't. I hope this helps you open your minds, open your hearts, and feel safe. So, thank you for listening to me rant. Thank you for letting me open up to you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Take care.